guys, welcome back to another edition of Chats from the Blog Cabin. Today I'm joined by Kelly. She is an amazing website designer and social media person. So Kelly, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Melissa. I love that video, by the way.
iMovie.
That video is amazing. It's amazing. Sorry. I'm blown away every time. So thanks for having me here. I'm Kelly. I'm a website designer and all around technical type geek. I just love that type of stuff. I'm also a health coach, and in general, just an entrepreneur. And I just love to collaborate and help come up with ideas. And I love the execution side. I have 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old and an almost 9-year-old. And my husband, we live right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina.
So how did you get into the website design business?
Okay, great question. So I remember back in the days when Blogger and MySpace were the main things. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember back then tinkering with stuff and having I don't know, maybe a little too much fun. I just really enjoyed learning and coming up with different creative things you can do on those very limited platforms. And I remember about 15 years ago when I started my first blog. And I just really started noodling around with WordPress one day. Because I heard this is the platform you need to be on and learn from. So I said, great, I will see what this is all about. And I checked out WordPress and started learning about it. And really just realized that I enjoyed doing it. I loved not only the creative side of it, but I also loved the technical side. It didn't intimidate me. And so I just kept going with that and realized hey, this is actually a skill that people need, that people have great ideas they want to put into the world and they need a website. They need some type of way to market it. And so I started doing that a long time ago, probably about 10 years ago, for other people, and started helping people get their businesses online.
Yeah, because definitely WordPress kind of intimidates me as well. I know there's a lot of bloggers out there that kind of intimidate, so they'd rather hire somebody to do the work and update the plugins and things like that than actually do it themselves for fear of breaking their blog, as a lot of people say.
Sure. I mean, I get that. And I remember when that was a real concern of mine. And then when I realized I could figure out how to restore it, I was like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I can do anything from here. And if I mess it up, I'll know for next time. But things have changed so much in the past, 10 years, even in the past 3 years, in terms of WordPress and the capabilities and the things that you can do with it. And I just really love that, you really can create anything you want to with it. It's a great flexible platform.
And I love your website.
Oh, thank you.
You've worked with a lot of different people, haven't you?
I have, yes, I have.
I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah, I have a few examples on there of some recent websites I've done.
So tell me a little bit more about, do you work mainly with companies, or can you work with a blogger who's just starting out, or revamping bloggers' pages, or revamping website pages, or?
Sure. I mean, I can work with a range of people. I've done anything from a ministry who wants to get their information out there, especially now with so many things being virtual. Such an important time to make sure your website is up to date and you are able to communicate what you want to through your website. So I work with bloggers, or you don't have to be a big company or something in order to work with me. The website, the essential pieces are the same. And then I also help do tutorials and things like that for people who just want to learn and like want to start tinkering and start figuring things out too.
Man, I don't know if I would want to tinker with my site though. The back end, that I was so happy when they put the blocks instead of the long code, because it broke it up. It's so much easier to read that code than just one long paragraph. Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh, when they changed to Gutenberg, you mean? Like yeah. So that is basically just I guess on the back end when you're writing your post, it's how it's formatted. And I do agree that it's much easier now, because before I think you could really easily screw up formatting without even realizing it. Like it was just like if one piece got off, it could like throw everything off center or whatever. So now it is much more streamlined for sure.
So how do people contact you about getting to work with you to design a website? Do you have a consultation call? I know you have a 30-minute discovery call because
the number one thing is I just want to hop on either the phone or Zoom or whatever's easiest for you and talk through what your goals are. Like, what do you want your website to do? And then how is like the rest of your online presence complementing that? So in terms of social media, a lot of people use social media as their whole strategy. And the kind of the issue with that is that like you don't own Facebook. I mean, unless Mark Zuckerberg is watching right now, I'm pretty sure most of the people watching do not own Facebook or Instagram or, some of these larger platforms. So you really want to have the base of your strategy on your website. So the number one thing I help people do is think through, what is your strategy? What are you trying to do here? And then we'll come up with the steps, put the steps in place, because your website should work for you. I mean, you should put it to work. It should be something that is an asset to your business in the way that when people go there, they know like immediately what you're doing, what you're offering. And once they're there, you want to capture them, that lead too. And a lot of people miss out on that. And so we really want to make sure that you figure out that strategy. So that's the number one thing I will do when we talk and see if we're a good fit to work together. And then from there, we can come up with your strategy and then put it into place. So I think that that is really a missing element for a lot of people. They use Facebook or Instagram as their main strategy, and then they're lacking really capturing those leads and nurturing their customer base.
Yeah. So it's website design. Do you get them to go their free downloads? Like if they have something to offer, do you help them implement that on their site as well?
Yep, absolutely. So what Melissa's talking about there is basically having something called a lead magnet, which when someone lands on your website, there's a pop-up, and I'm sure you've seen this. So someone will say, I have a free printable or a free download or a book or whatever it is. And you type in your name and email address, and in exchange for that information, you get the free printable or whatever it is emailed to you. And on your side, the website owner side, you have then their contact information. You can market to them in perpetuity, right? Because they gave you permission, unlike a Facebook post or Instagram post, which is really has a very short shelf life. And so not many people see it. The algorithm, it changes all the time. We have no control over that, but it can be a piece of your strategy, just not the whole strategy.
And what are your thing about pop-ups? What's your opinion about pop-ups?
I say try it. And I think there's a good way to do a pop-up, and then there's like kind of a not so good way. I mean, there's definitely ugly pop-ups. Let's be real. So I've been on some websites that are just annoying, especially on mobile. Like if you're on your phone and like the pop-up takes up the whole screen and then you can't figure out where to exit out, then you can't even see the website. A lot of times I'll just get frustrated and leave. Like, forget that. Like, I can't even see your website. And so you want to make sure that people aren't getting frustrated too. But I find that some pop-ups work well. I think for sure the thing that works the best is a content related freebie. So that takes a little bit more work. But when you have, like, if you're doing a post, if I'm doing a post about like how to design your first blog or how to start your first blog, something like that. And then I could have a downloadable that directly relates to that content, because however people find your website, they're not looking for something generic. So it's really important to make sure that you are catering that download to your audience, to the people that land on your website. So if it feels random, if it feels like, I don't know what that means, then like people aren't going to do it. And it is going to become annoying. But if it's something that offers value, I think people are like, oh, heck yeah, I want that download. And then it doesn't feel like salesy or catchy, or you're not trying to like, it's not a bait and switch. You're trying to offer something to them and help people. And that's really at the, core of what I want to do is help people. I don't want to, trick people into working with me. That's certainly not it. But I want to make sure that, I'm finding the right audience. And that's important for any type of business.
So what do you think about being authentic and being inauthentic? There's a lot of people out there that they put their best face forward on social media, and they don't. And it's like superficial almost. What do you think about that? Do you think they'll lose customers or fan based because of that?
Well, I just don't think people think it's real. So, I just think it's a major turnoff. And I know that with Instagram, there was like a major trend for a while to have your feed look a certain way. And so people would only post like certain types of photos or whatever. And so they really catered it. And certainly you can do the same thing on Facebook. It's just a little bit different because you don't have a grid. But I definitely think that in life, as well as on social media, like being inauthentic is a major turnoff. It is, it's not real. So I don't know, like we all struggle. We all have things we don't know. Nobody is perfect. And there's, it's a challenge in business to figure out like which pieces of that you share. But I do think that it is important to be real as much as you can, because that is what people relate to, right? They relate to our shared humanity, the pieces of us that are, like, it's 95 degrees outside and I'm like sweating right now. Like that type of thing. Like people relate to that because that's real, right? And I think it's important to just be yourself. And not try to be someone else online. Like that person is already taken, right? Just be you. And it's important to do that, I think, on and offline for sure.
Yeah, because honestly, when people actually meet you offline, and they perceive you as one thing online, and then offline it's like something totally different, and they get turned off, and you lose a lot of followers that way when they finally do meet you. So.
Yeah, well, this is a good example, Melissa, because we didn't know each other. We've known each other online since January, right? And we just met in person like a couple weeks ago. And so I would say that I felt that you were the same person on and offline. And I really appreciate that, because that to me means that, it was continuity for me. It was real. And so it's certainly the same thing when people interact with your business, whether you have like a storefront or an online business or whatever it is, you want to make sure that you are definitely projecting who you are, because people relate to that the most.
Yeah, that's true. And now that you touched on it, we'll talk about how we met. We met actually through Tracy. I interviewed Tracy, or We're Not Waiting. Tracy and I started a mastermind together, and you were one of the people that Tracy invited to the mastermind. And I was like, okay, we interviewed you, and you were like, okay, you're in, So tell us about that when you got that either text or call, or I don't know how Tracy invited you, but
I think she emailed me, and first of all, I reconnected with Tracy recently after knowing her from college. So we graduated many years ago. I won't say a number, but many years ago, and it had been a while since I had talked to her, and it was just really great because we reconnected through an event at church. And when I saw her again, it was like, oh my gosh, it was like, you know how they say like riding a bike, like you just picked right up. Mm-hmm. Like you just picked right up where we left off. And it was just so much fun to reconnect with her. And so basically I was like in right away. I didn't know anyone else, but I was like, I just want to hang out with Tracy more. And so mission accomplished. And yeah, no, I was actually really excited because I had been a part of other masterminds before that didn't fit for me. They were challenging in terms of their requirements. And so I really appreciated the way that you guys have chose to lead this one. It's much more laid back, but yet we put an emphasis on the things that are important. So I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, during COVID, our emphasis was on just stress relief. So we played a lot of games, got to know each other a little bit better for that.
Yeah, that's right. We sure did. That was fun.
Until we got able to meet each other face to face, because you had never met Emily, Tracy, and you have never met Emily, and I had never met you when we went together for Emily's farm for her hen party.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
And during this mastermind thing, you decided to go back into website designing, right? Because at one point in time, you were like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore.
I did, yes. I think with a lot of things, we can get burned out. And I think it's important to pay attention to that. And that's kind of what had happened for me. I think that had a lot to do with the ages and stages of my kids. Plus like some other demands that were on me and at the time. Plus I really have multiple passions. And so I love many things, and it's a blessing and a curse because I love to do so many different types of things, and not everything has to be a business. I think that idea really set me free recently. Like some things can be hobbies. Like we have really lost the art of the hobby. And then some things can be businesses, and sometimes your businesses can fund your hobbies. And so I really reached a point where I was in my health coaching business and kind of at the point where I needed to make some critical decisions. And, I just decided to do a transition so I could help fund some of the things that my health coaching business was really needing. And that's fine. I mean, I'm thankful that I can do that. I'm glad that I can shift. And I really think that actually a lot of the questions that we were going through in the mastermind helped me hone in on that and why I was doing that, and to not feel guilty about it, because I think a lot of times we feel like I can't change my mind. Why can't you? Like no one's holding a gun to your head, right? Like we can shift and change and do different things in different seasons, and that's fine. And no one's going to call you an imposter for that. Like if you think they are, then it's in your head, which is what I've realized. But so much of that shift kind of freed me up. And so I just realized, there's a season for things. There was a season to take a break, and now this is time for me to bring it back. And I'm excited for that because I really love it. I really love the problem solving aspect and the creative aspect. And it's fun for me. And I love helping people showcase their great ideas online and really putting that strategy and fuel behind it.
And your face lights up when you talk about it. I will say that. Emily and I had that conversation well, maybe no, it wasn't the last mastermind because Emily wasn't there. But we were talking about how your face just lights up when you talk about oh, and maybe it was Tracy and I. We're like, you can see your whole face lights up and your eyes start, they start to glisten a little bit. It's like you're like it's so excited about it.
Right. I know. I think that I really went through a transition because there's so many things that you can do online. I just really believe like your website is a blank canvas. And so if you're starting out or you're, intimidated to get started or whatever, it's like, you can really do whatever you want with that space. I mean, how many times is that true in life? Like if I want to redesign my whole house, that's going to be like $20,000+ dollars. But for a lot less than that, you can really create whatever it is you want online. And I just love that we have that freedom. And it's not right for me to hoard this gift. I think that's where I landed. Like, I cannot just keep this to myself or feel some kind of way about it. I really need to allow this to get into the world. And I don't know. I'm just going with the flow right now because whatever ends up happening with it, I'm excited to see, and I'm certainly excited to build my client base and to help more people get their gift into the world.
Okay, before we go to the next question, I have a real quick sponsor thing
cool.
Hey y'all, welcome to Summer Sunflower Fields at Odom Farming Company. We'd love for you to come visit with us. We're open Tuesday through Thursday and Sunday from 4 to 8 and Friday and Saturday from 4 to 9. $5 admission includes a visit with the pasture gang, the playground, the beautiful fields, and 3 flowers to carry home. So come see us at 1426 Claridge Nursery Road, Goldsboro. Check out our website, odomfarmingcompany.com, or follow us on social media. We sure hope to see you soon.
And those are beautiful flowers behind me. She is contributing the flowers on my set.
That's awesome. I love that. And, I'm going to have to talk to her about that, why I don't have some back here for me.
She probably would deliver it. She'll say next mastermind meeting, she'll bring them to you.
For sure.
So why should people hire you then?
Well, I really believe that my approach is creative and streamlined. So I think sometimes with the creative process, you can kind of get off base, like off the point. And that's good. That's good when you're in like the idea formation stage. When you are coming up with your strategy, I can really help assist you with that. And I love to come up with ideas that help you showcase your business, show off your business, help you automate things, help you, really make your website work for you, like we talked about earlier, and, help you build your strategy from your social media to your website, all of those things we were talking about earlier. And one of my main things that I am like really proud of, because I think this is probably the number one complaint people have with designers, is that there's like 1,000 back and forth emails. And so one of the things I help you do is really streamline that process so that there's not that. So you don't have, like 100 emails from me, like, what do you want to do about this? And what do you want? And plus, I like to help you, if you want to learn, figure out how to do some things on the back end so that you can make changes if you want to. Of course, no pressure, but I know that that's another complaint people have, is that they have to go through someone in order to make changes. So I help you learn how to do some of those, smaller things or larger things if you want to learn. If you want to, totally overhaul your website or whatever, WordPress is a great option, which is why I work on that platform, because you can change as design trends change, or if you rebrand your business or whatever it is, you can change easily without having to, pay a whole bunch of money to redo your entire website. So that is another reason. Plus, I love to help you come up with strategies to build a community if that's what you want to do. to set up like an e-commerce website if that's what your business calls for, and to help you figure out how to connect from, like I said, social media to your online website presence.
What are your starting rates, or are they different rates for different people? Do you have a sliding rate, or do they just do discovery call with you and then decide what they want from that point on?
Yeah, normally what I do is I talk with them about that during our initial call. And the reason for that is depending on what you are looking for, it could change dramatically. If you just want me to, do a WordPress install, for instance, if you don't know what that means, it's okay. But if that's what you want to do, then, that's going to be really different from like me being like a full service designer for you.
And also, I had another question that just ran out of my head. I'm like, really? But I do want to ask you about one thing that you're known for in our mastermind group. Can you guess what you're known for in our mastermind group?
What I'm known for? Oh my gosh. I don't know.
What does Tracy always ask you?
Oh, about COVID?
Yeah, conspiracy theories.
Oh, about conspiracy. Yeah. Oh, conspiracy theories in general, or
in general.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like one of my favorite genres of books to read is dystopian books, which, if you're not familiar with what that is basically like what happens when the world ends, but everything like goes really badly. So it's like the opposite of utopia. It's like, utopia is like paradise, dystopian is like the opposite. And it's like what happens when everything breaks down over time. And so, when all this started, I was like, this is a little too familiar. I can't read this genre anymore, because like normally I read it as like an escape, like a fantasy world escape, but now it's like a little too close to real life. So, but yeah, that is so funny that's what I'm known for. I'm a little like scared about that.
That's funny, guys, when we're in a meeting and Tracy will ask Kelly, well, Kelly, what do you think about this? What have you heard about this? And we'll just sit for like 10, 15 minutes with Kelly just sprouting what she's heard, what she's read. She's so well versed in this subject.
Oh my gosh. I do love to read about all kinds of things. And unfortunately, because we can't, in general, people can't meet in person, I think it's like, it's really hampering our ability to discuss things in a way that is candid, because online people get so divisive and everything is polarizing. So you can't discuss something intelligently, because if I say, I'm not going to say anything specifically, but if I say I believe this, or I'm thinking about this, then automatically this means this is my political affiliation. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. I was just sharing something. So it's really weird right now. Like everything is just so divided. It's tough.
It is very, very, very weird. And I mean, you can't even, people are behind the scenes on social media being trolls about everything, no matter what you say. And it's just,
yeah, it's a bummer for sure.
So you offer website design, you offer email as well, email, right? And how about the social media, formatting the social media or telling them what they should post on social media? Do you do that?
Yep. I can discuss anything from strategy to actually helping you think through what you need to post day to day. So I would say my main gift here is strategy. So helping you come up with not just posting to post, but how to create a story with what you're posting, and connecting that to your website.
And do you also do hosting? That was the question I was thinking about earlier.
Do I do posting?
Hosting.
Hosting, yes, I do website hosting as well. Yes, I do.
That's super cool. So you're basically, they could go to you for everything that they need as far as
yes. And if you don't have a domain yet, which if you don't know what domain means, that's basically like you type in like adventuresoffrugalmom.com, that is your domain. If you don't have a domain, I can help you also do that. It will be you will own it, of course, but I can help you figure out how to do all of that. Also, I can help you set up G Suite. If you're not familiar with that, that's basically like Google's email on your domain, plus like Google Docs, spreadsheets, slideshow, all of that. It's all included in Google Suite, but I can help you set that up on your domain, because that really helps you legitimize you as a business. So instead of having like, I have my generic email address, but I also have my email address that's on my domain. So I also have hello@KellyCain.com. So that is my email address on my domain, but it looks like Gmail. And a lot of people are really familiar with Gmail. And so that's really nice, because it's great. It's a lot of great apps in there. So if you're going to build an organization, if you're going to have multiple staff, or even if it's just you, it's a great way to bring credibility to your business. And then also a great way to have everything in one place, consolidated.
So what's your opinion of WordPress.org versus WordPress.com? One's a free, one's a free.
So I was just talking about this with a friend, because she didn't realize there was a difference. And I think that is kind of tough, because a lot of people don't know. So WordPress.com is basically would be equivalent to like Tumblr or Blogger or something along those lines. And it's fine if, you don't want to have a lot of flexibility. If you're just looking for something very straightforward, like I just want to blog, then that's fine. If you want to have lead magnets and stuff like that, then you're really going to need more flexibility, which is what WordPress.org does, which is basically, it's free. WordPress.org is free. So if you go there right now, you can download basically a software package. But then once you download it, what do you do with it? And so that's what I help people learn, or I can do that for you. I actually have a tutorial right now on my in a Facebook group that shows you how to set up WordPress.org on 2 different hosts. One is the host I use, and then the other is Bluehost, which is a lot of people are really familiar with.
Yeah, I use Bluehost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I will drop that link to your Facebook group in the show comments, so that way people can join and do it that way.
Yep, that's great.
So what would be your number one suggestion for people starting out to making a website, besides contacting you, of course? But what would be the number one?
Oh, okay. Well, number one suggestion would be, if you have a business name, then you're going to need a domain. So I use Namecheap.com for all of my domains, and it's just very easy, streamlined, simple to use. The domain finder is easy. So if you're trying to come up with a domain, it's easy to do that. That would be the number one thing. And then from there, if you want to install WordPress yourself, if you want to figure out how to do that, I have a tutorial for that. And then from there, it's just really like figuring out what you want, how you want it to look, what, like we talked about before, what is your strategy here? What is the whole reason behind having a website? Are you trying to get sales? Are you trying to get leads? Are you trying to do both? Are you trying to, direct them somewhere? Are you trying to do affiliate marketing? Whatever it is, you definitely want to have strategy in place. And I think we talked about this a while ago, but the whole like Linktree thing, I know that's a huge fad right now. Everyone's using Linktree. I mean, celebrities like across the board. I know probably like a lot of different influencers are using Linktree. So the problem with that is that you're sending all your traffic to Linktree. Mm-hmm. And so you can create your own Linktree using WordPress. And Linktree has a paid subscription too for certain things like branding and things. So if you're going to be paying for that, you might as well just do it on your own website and build out that however you want it to look. And that's definitely something I can help you do, having done that myself for my own business. And then that way you can have, a way to capture leads. If you get one link on your Instagram profile, so why are you going to send all the traffic to another website? I mean, it's mind-boggling. And I understand why most people do it is because it's easy and they have a free version. But that's, again, part of strategy, right? Like thinking it all through. Where are you sending the traffic? Because traffic is a huge part of the internet. I mean, where you send traffic that affects rankings, that affects what comes up in Google. So you really want to, capitalize on that instead of, whatever it is. If you have a new post on your blog or whatever you're posting on Instagram, you've got that one link in profile. Well, what is that link? Where are you sending people? And so I think that that's really important to consider too. Like, let's build out something that actually looks really good and impressive and is your brand. And then when people land there, they're like, oh, cool, let me look around for a minute. Before long, you have captured their lead. And so that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about strategy. There's so many little things like that to consider that can really boost your business.
Plus, if you're a first-time blogger or first-time website owner, it can bog you down with all these little itty-bitty things. You're like, oh no, what do I have to do next? I can't do this. Oh my gosh, what? So I think having someone like you helping them and assisting them, doing bit by bit, showing them how to create that strategy would help a whole lot.
Definitely. I mean, there's so many pieces and you don't necessarily need all the pieces right away too. So that can also be part of the strategy. Like, what do you have capacity to manage right now? Because you know how much it is to keep a blog up, right, Melissa?
Yep.
So it's much more than people think. However, if that is, if you're really wanting to build your business, I mean, a blog is one of the best things you can do strategy-wise. And I think it has a bad rap because of what blogs used to be, but it's so different now. There's so many things you can do with it and so many ways you can, you can put it on Pinterest, and Pinterest is huge and people don't even think about that as considering that as part of their strategy. But that has been a huge way I've driven traffic. So there's so many, different things that you can put into place, but again, it has to be the right fit for you. And if it's too much, then it's not the right fit.
Now, what say a customer comes to you and say they want to start a website, they want to start a blog, but they have no idea what to name it? Because honestly, that was my biggest thing when I first started. Right. Is what? I stink at coming up with names. I mean, honestly, I do.
Well, okay, so that's actually one of my favorite things. So number one, I would love to help, just because I at any given time have 5 to 10 business ideas just floating around in my head. So I love to do that. But there's also business idea name generators on the internet. So you can just Google that. And I know Shopify has one. And then there's a couple others out there. But you can just put in some keywords that you're thinking about. A lot of times getting started is the hardest part. So if you just start putting in some keywords, that might trigger some more ideas. And, it may take a few days. I mean, don't be in a rush about it. Just allow kind of the creative process to go through. And then as you think about, more things, then the right idea will rise to the top.
What do you think about rebranding?
Well, I am a fan. I mean, I think that it's important. I think that brands can definitely get stale. I had a recent example where I did a website for a client 10 years ago. Is that even right? I don't know. That seems like a really long time ago. Anyway, they came to decades, really? They came to me and said, we want to redo this. And I actually, before that, I have been telling them, you guys need to redo your website. It's time. It's out of date. It doesn't look visually appealing anymore. 10 years ago, sure. But the trends change a little bit more often than that, but just for this example. And when we did change it, their website, it just looks so much better now. Like there's so many things that change. Like the images are brighter, they stand out more. And as someone who has an online portfolio, that's a really big piece of it. And there's so many different options now, whereas there didn't used to be. So rebranding can also lead to like things being simpler for you. So I think that that's an important thing to consider as well.
I know a lot of people, especially bloggers, are really worried about rebranding because they rebrand their name, they lose their authority in Google, and they have to start from scratch. So that's
so in terms of renaming, are you talking about renaming like altogether? Yeah, I mean, there's some workarounds though. You can always, include redirects. You can, there's many different strategies. I won't get into all of them, but if that is the only concern, I wouldn't say that that's like enough of a reason, because you still have that domain. So you can still make it work for you.
And I just noticed this, Kelly, even though we didn't consult each other, we're both wearing black stripes.
We did on. That's funny.
Great.
I love that. That's funny.
We did not plan this, folks, at all.
I know. That's so funny.
You're the only
one that has that going on.
You're the only
What'd
one.
you say?
You're the only one that this has happened to, that we dressed a little.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm a huge fan of horizontal stripes. I wear them a lot. So
is there anything else that you want to leave people with? Any advice? Last tidbit?
So I would say, if you're interested in learning more about WordPress, join my group, and definitely check out, my website. And I think a great way, though, to learn more, if you're interested in learning more, or if you're interested in connecting with me, you can go to my website and schedule that call, or send me an email, or whatever is easiest for you. But definitely the group would be a quick way to connect.
So what is the group on Facebook?
The group is, I believe, WordPress Tutorials for Creatives. I will double check. I can find the link and send it over to you, but I'm pretty sure that that's the name of it.
Okay, now I have one question left. And I tend to forget to ask everybody, but I'm going to ask you, what's the most unusual thing about yourself? This is like a pop quiz for you.
Oh, wow. On the spot. I'm really trying to think. Most unusual thing about me. I think probably it would be that I was a clogger, maybe. Like I used to be a clogger, clogging. That was like many years ago, but I'm trying to really think, because that's the only thing that's coming to mind. So maybe I'm not really that unusual, but I really thought I was. But I'll think about it more, and if something else comes up, then I will share it.
Well, now that you've let the cat out of the bag, I think on our retreat, we're going to have you do a clog dance for us.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I had to really dig deep for that. I don't even have the shoes anymore. I mean, shoes are like 95% of it. So.
Thank you, Kelly, for joining us today.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it for sure.
Okay, guys. See you later.
Bye.